What is going on, everybody? Today we got a vloggy type day, but today we got to fix something on the Miata first. Before it goes any farther, I'm going to say it first before anyone else does.
Danny, give back Brittany's shirt.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, my shirt's really thin, but it is super hot out here. This is the best thing to wear this time of day. It's nice because I am wearing a shirt because some of you guys get like, put a shirt on, put a shirt. Today, we had a problem. You notice my entire exhaust, you can only see the downpipe, but it's un-V-banded. So everything down there too is all off the hangers and everything. This right here is a heater core hose. I just replaced this one when I did the aluminum radiator for CX Racing. We have the one right next to it, and it was butting up against the exhaust right here. And if you can see, I have this heat shielding on the exhaust, but it actually burned through. I'm not gonna be able to get the camera back here, but this spot right here is actually exposed. Actually, can I get the camera back there? You can see how it's exposed right here, and it literally burned a hole through the hose right here. I actually got home in time, so I didn't need to get towed, but check this out. Oh! This is a heater core hose, so what's in it is radiator fluid, radiator fluid, radiator fluid. It was on its way to extinction. We have a new hose right here that we just picked up. It's not necessarily the same, as you can tell it's much larger, but I'm gonna take a piece of this header wrap that I took off of the exhaust, wrap it around the spot that's gonna get destroyed, and hopefully that will help it from being destroyed in the future. Just a reminder, like I do all the time, if you guys should really check your heater core lines for sure, because if one of these blows up and it's bad, you will literally have, like, especially if one blows off or something, you could have like less than 10 seconds before your car overheats and blows up, or you're just gonna have to get towed. So go today, go to your radiator, check your upper radiator hose, your lower radiator hose, and you most likely have two heater core lines that will be connecting to the firewall to the engine block. So go right now, after this video, watch the video first, and check those lines, because that could be a huge, huge problem, especially if your car is turboed, and if it's aftermarketed turboed like this car. There's not necessarily a perfect kit out there that will protect these lines absolutely the best, so it's a good idea to check that out. Obviously this isn't the same line, if you can definitely tell by how long it is. There's something that needs to go, the line needs to go from right here, that goes to the engine block, and from up here, which goes through the firewall. So I'm hoping this thing doesn't have to kink at all. I don't think it will, so we're just gonna try it out and see, hope for the best. So here's what we got right here. This stuff isn't meant to be on the downpipe, so I really doubt it's gonna burn off. I'm gonna possibly put that can that's over there on here and maybe metal zip tie it, because I know these plastic zip ties aren't gonna hold up worth a crap. So I'm gonna metal zip tie it for sure with the can, but if the can doesn't work, then I'm gonna metal zip tie just right here where these plastic zip ties are to make sure it actually stays. But see, let me show you guys something. I'm sure I'm gonna get a comment about this, but I had this like heat shielding over the other piece of the old piece of rubber, the old hose, and it literally burned right through here. So this was not strong enough. Honestly, do not recommend this if that's a heat shielding that's going to be directly on the downpipe. I believe this header wrap is going to work because it's literally made to go on a downpipe. The reason why I didn't go all the way up is because this is going to need to bend, and obviously this is going to go on one of the pieces too on the engine block, so I got to get a clamp on there, and I want to make sure it's a really solid seal. And these are far enough from the downpipe where it's not going to see direct heat like on it perfectly. The only thing I really don't like about this entire setup is this can right here. It looks really bad. Not sure if the downpipe is even going to be able to go on with the can being there, and I might end up just taking it off completely, even though I really like how they work, because it doesn't get hot very easy. Because like things like this line used to almost be burned off completely. You put this Coors Light can here, nothing happened anymore. It's perfectly fine. Along with this, when everything in here has been running for a while, you could seriously put your hands on this can and it's not even hot. So the aluminum cans really do its job. So I definitely recommend that especially if you're in a pinch or at a track or something like that. So here we go. I have one of the hangers on the exhaust bolted up so it's kind of hanging, and I could get the downpipe back where it needs to be. This is going to be eventually V-banded, but this is going to be really close, maybe, you know, a couple millimeters to the left. But here's what we're looking at. So this metal aluminum is sitting on the heat shielding for the downpipe. Now, I thought the heat shielding would have been okay before, but obviously it wasn't because it burned right through. So hopefully this is going to last. Try to push this down if I can, but I'm afraid because it looks like the bottom of the line right down there is kind of close to the heat shielding, so got to take care of that. I'm going to leave the radiator cap open so the bubbles, the air pockets basically can come out. Definitely need to add water into here because of yesterday when I opened up that heater core line, it definitely overflowed out. This is water in an antifreeze bottle, so. Before, when the car was on, it would smoke right at that hose because of the heat shielding actually melting on the hose and the hose eventually smoking because the rubber was going away. So we'll also be able to diagnose that as well. Also, I'm going to keep my eye on the temp gauge in the car and make sure it doesn't get hot. That hose might be a slight bit kinked. Just the slightest bit, so I'm hoping it's not that big of a deal. It is kind of a big deal to have it kinked. If it is, I mean, you really want your cooling system to be top notch, but we're gonna have to run it this way for now because I gotta go places. It shouldn't be a huge deal for the time being. Definitely need to pick up some radiator fluid or antifreeze in the next time I fill this thing up because I've been filling it up with just water, which isn't a big deal. It's not like it's gonna freeze anytime soon. It's freaking hot, so we should be okay. But right now I'm basically waiting for the thermostat to open so that the water pump will pump the coolant and we will be able to add more and burp the system at the same time. It's smoking again. The camera doesn't pick it up, but it is. Dang it. I have a feeling it's just the freaking heat shielding on the downpipe that is just eating away at itself at this point. One part got hot and made a hole, so I think it's just gonna make a hole in the entire thing. So now I literally have to wait an hour, 15 minutes till the car cools down so I can take off the downpipe again and take off that crappy heat shielding that is on there that is not doing its job because there's literally a hole in it. I don't know how it melted in the first place. It's kind of really disappointing out of a heat shielding product. It literally melted. V-band is the way to go if you want a downpipe setup for sure. Get a V-band turbo and you're solid. But I believe this is where the smoke is coming from. It looks like it might have even been coming from here too. So this literally got eaten away and it looks like there might even be like some kind of fluid on here, and most likely the antifreeze or the coolant, and it's eating away at it, and I believe this is where the smoke is coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back on the car without this heat shielding. I'm going to order some header wrap, something that's perfect, and I'm going to redo it with header wrap. Oh my gosh. Check this out. This is crazy. Wow. This thing got dirty. That is absolutely disgusting. This is useless, and it's really heavy, to be completely honest. The downpipe back in, completely bolted down with the V-band, and this is actually there's like a millimeter of space, or it might be barely resting on it, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was before, and I think we could be okay. And once I finish this up, I can bolt down the exhaust, make sure it's not an open downpipe setup, and then turn it on again and see if it smokes. It might smoke a little bit or steam a little bit at first because of the coolant that's spilled on the downpipe and the rest of the exhaust possibly, but we'll see. Not too bad for scissors and a drill. Not too bad. It's a squeaky clutch. Alright. It's not smoking anymore. There is a little bit of smoke, and that comes from me touching the downpipe, but it's not so much as, it's like a very, very, very slight amount that you can barely see. It's not even happening anymore, but that happens when your fingerprints touches things like the manifold, the turbo, the valve cover, things like that. You will get some smoke coming from it. It's just your oils from your fingers. Man, that was a pain in the butt. I started this at 8:30 and now it is 1:30. Granted, I had to go to some places and get some stuff, but jeez, I thought I was gonna get to the gym at 10. That's what I thought today. Nice. This heat shield is where it belongs. In the trash. Rude. So, guess what? Brittany is just taking the ride with just a bikini on. What do you know?
We're supposed to open the door for a lady. Any other guy would gladly open their car door for me. It's blunt. Fact. It won't go in.
No, it's not demented.
It won't. I'm telling you right.
It'll go in for sure.
This is how I die. Is this appropriate?
No. Okay, so we took the car out. It was making more of like weird noises, and Brittany came up with a good idea that it was most likely. So the exhaust the downpipe used to be wrapped in that that heat shielding. That was kind of like foamy and stuff, so it blocked a lot of. So if that part of the downpipe hit anything or metal, it wouldn't make a noise. So now it sounds like it is making noise. It's just like hitting metal around it. It's making a weird like teeny sound when the motor, obviously, when there's movement in the motor, there's movement on the turbo and there's movement on the downpipe. So we're thinking it's that. I'm gonna turn off the car right now, or actually I'll keep it on, pop the hood. Okay, we're rolling. Pop the hood and see if there's any smoke. But it looks like we're solid as of right now, so that's really good news. I'm gonna look at it over and just make sure really quick right now, but we're looking good. It's about to go, dude. Hey, do I have an exhaust leak or? Mickey asked me a couple days ago, I think you have an exhaust leak, and I told him, nah. And definitely do. Hopefully we can get this thing taken care of. When I turned this thing on this morning, I was just like over here on the car on the ground, and I could just feel the air from right here. This is crazy. Would you look at that? It's a perfect fit. Oh my God, Tony just found that. We have a crack in this one. We might have to get rid of the center exit. Might have to do a real exhaust. Oh, sad day.